Now you can. Sorry about that. Welcome to the first episode of Tiger Talk, a podcast all about the Richmond Tigers and a little bit of AFL as well. Plenty to talk about tonight, and I'm delighted to welcome my co-host for the evening, Mr. Robert Winstone. Rob, welcome.
Jono Venn, absolute pleasure to be here tonight. We've been talking about this idea for a long time, and here we are. We're finally doing it. Let's get underway.
Dan Williams, can't believe he's made me wait for over a minute. Apologies for that. Hopefully you guys...
Sorry about that. Welcome.
There we go.
And here we are.
That's the affirmation that I'm actually on, so thanks, Rob, for that. Little thing. Oh, gee, this is a bit awkward, but we'll get through it as time progresses and as lockdown continues, I suppose. To the top right of your screen, you can see the countdown to the game that we're all looking forward to seeing. But first, let's talk about the previous weekend of AFL. Rob, plenty of stuff happened in regards to quarantine bubbles and that sort of thing, mate. I suppose as Victorians, it can be a bit annoying for us people stuck down here in lockdown while everyone gets to have a bit of freedom. Have you been too frustrated by that, or you just?
Look, Jono, mate. I'll tell you, it's very interesting when the wags, so the wives and girlfriends out there, they're coming more under scrutiny than the players are. You know, they're more worried about getting their hair done and nails done and breaking the bubble rules. But you know, look, that was an interesting one with Brooke Cotchin during the week.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you know, Cotchin, he's almost the perfect. If you could describe a perfect footballer, well, Cotchin hasn't really done too much wrong over his career. But it seems the wags and the girlfriends are, you know, sort of getting in more trouble than the actual players. But look, no complaints from me. Look, I'm healthy. I'm following the rules. And look, I'm just glad that we've got a bit of footy to watch tonight, especially a top eight clash between Brisbane, who are currently sitting second, and the Tigers, who are fifth currently. So we're in for an epic game tonight, John.
Indeed we are. Well, we've never really lost to the Lions previously. However, we've never ever played them at Metricon. 2020 is a year of firsts, to the point where, well, what do you know? We're playing them at Metricon, which would be, technically speaking, their home ground, but it's our home game. Gotta love Hubs.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, I've got an interesting stat for you, John. I've done my research during the day today. Now, the last time Richmond lost to the Brisbane Lions was on Saturday, May the 9th, 2009. So we're going back 11 years. On that day, Brisbane won 15-7, 97, defeated Richmond 11-10, 76. Now, that year, you've got to remember Richmond finished dead last on the ladder. So it was a pretty ordinary year. That's the year Richo retired. Benny Cousins had some controversial headlines during that year as well. And, you know, it wasn't Richmond's best era. So there's only two players who are playing tonight who actually played in that loss. That one being, we just speaking the man, the captain, Trent Cotchin, and also Jack Rewalt, who was a young, they used to call him Pup early in his career.
They still do, don't they?
They still call him Pup, but he's my age, about 31, 32 years of age. But so it's a long time between drinks for the Brisbane Lions, but dare I say, the Lions are playing some terrific football, and they had a huge win last week. They won 91-28, so that's a huge lacking 63-point win in a shortened quarter season. So look, the Brisbane Lions, you know, even though they're technically not playing at home, look, I reckon this one's going to be an absolute belter. You just look at some of their plays, you know. Mitch Robertson is huge for them. Hugh McCluggage, Cam Rayner. I've got the question. Who's going to tag, like, even, I think if Lachie Neale can do his damage, like, who, in your opinion, who's going to tag him? Who's going to be the one to stop Lachie Neale tonight?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because, PointsBet, you know how they do those, I guess, morph between the two players' faces? They did one between Dusty and Neil. They called it...
They morphed, yeah.
They called it Nasty, and, well, to be honest, it's nasty. Look, I don't know. Dimmer has his secrets, and we won't know until we find out. But let's talk about last week before we get to a bigger preview. I suppose of the game that we're set to run tonight. You're on the clock, 6 minutes. So, this is very un-Richmond of me, and I apologise to all viewers. Some of you who have met me for the first time on social media. A lot of Robbie's mates. I apologise. I loathe to tell you, I didn't actually watch any of the game last night. So last time, I should say. So Rob, what were your thoughts on the game? I understand Dusty was on absolute fire.
Well, Jono, look, it's all good, mate. I've got control of this segment, but Richmond showed me why we have won 2 of the last 3 premierships. There was some signs against GWS. Really, Richmond lost that game. They kicked inaccurately, and GWS had one spurt in the third quarter where they kicked, I think it was 5 straight, and just basically put Richmond to the sword. Richmond hit back with 3 late goals and were unable to chase that lead down in the end. But really, for mine, Richmond lost that game rather than GWS outplaying us. We had huge counts of inside forward 50 thrusts, that old style, that really run and gun and tackle at all costs, that pressure style game. So even despite we lost that game, we showed against the Doggies, we came out firing.
Yeah,
it was
absolutely
huge. Dusty was back to his best.
Yeah.
And we saw those ominous signs against GWS. And what's exciting for the Tigers is that Dusty is like having, literally 3 blokes can't stop Dusty. You can throw him out forward, he can kick you 6 goals. You can throw him through the guts. He's got the most potent, lethal kick in the league. And I think with the ins of Chet Codchin in the last couple of weeks, he's that calming influence who just knows how to make the right decisions. He can guide those younger players, like the Grimes, the Liam Bakers, the Castagnas, the Edgar Smiths, the Noah Bolter. So those younger players who are only fresh into the team, even Amabior Chol, who, mate, he's my favourite. And I'll be commentating him tonight. Cholee! Yeah. But he's the calming influence, and Richmond really hit their shots last week. When the game was there to be won early, they completely dominated the midfield. They dominated the forward line, and really, even when the Doggies went forward, they had no answers for our pressure down back. And Grimes, he is the standard. Since Alex Francis retired, he is the penultimate backline backman in my opinion. He's right up there. He'd be in the top 3 backmen in the league, if not the best. So the Tigers hitting their straps at the right time of the year, and for a side that was playing such pretty poor football compared to what we used to see from the Tigers, they're really starting to hit their straps at the right time of the year. That's certainly what I've been watching the last couple of weeks.
Speaking of Alex Rance, Dimmer made the comment last week, if I recall correctly, that Noah Bolter had a bit of similarities to Alex Rance, and Dimmer hated to say that himself, but I have no doubt about that he's going to be very promising, and hopefully will win us a premiership or 2 throughout his career. And that's just the good thing about Richmond. I mean, the nature of footy is, you win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, we've won 2 premierships, and it's not that often that you can say, when other people are telling you your 9th position on the ladder during a season like this, that, we're reigning premiers. So that's not too bad. You're copping a bit of abuse here, mate. I might just add in regards to the Richmond jumpers, but this is a Richmond show after all.
I don't know who's
John,
abusing me.
I might just read up.
So
we're actually gonna make a segment out of this. It's called Robbie's abusive messages during the show. We'll come up with a better jingle for that.
So just so I know who's actually abusing me, because I abuse a lot of other teams. So
fair enough. So shout out to John Nelson, who says, "Robbie, you are delusional. Look at the scoreboard." Hang on, is there a game on at the moment? No, the game begins in, if I remember correctly, 25 minutes and 54 seconds. But do you believe in the Easter Bunny? You are talking fairy tales. That's a bit fascinating. How do you respond to that?
Well, Johnny Nelson, he's my primary school principal. I spent more time in his office than I did actually in class back in the 1990s, 1993 to 1999. Johnny Nelson, he was a ripping bloke, known for his big ears and his jokes. And Johnny Nelson, mate, if you think I'm delusional, well, as I just said earlier in the show, Brisbane have not defeated the Tigers since Saturday, May the 9th, 2009, where Brisbane defeated the Tigers 15-7, 97 v Richmond's 11-10-76. And that was the year
He's
that
got the
Richmond finished
facts on
second
him.
last.
Yeah.
And that was the last time the Brisbane Lions made the final. So, delusional, well, you might have to ask yourself the same question.
Oh, gee. That's incredible. All right. Oh, there you go. So Dan Williams, Robbie's roasts. That'll do. Hopefully as the quality improves, because we're a bit struggling on frame rate at the moment, which is a bit of a shame. But that's all right. A big shout out to all the 8 people watching us at the moment. I don't think Christopher Sidney shared us to the Brotherhood yet, and we should be going live to the Brotherhood, but I've been, as Mick Malloy says, under the pump. But let's go to a very special segment, which you'll see a little bit later on YouTube, called the Peak 2020-18, or XVIII, if you're old-fashioned, like me, the private school student who went and played footy within a system that used Roman numerals to describe their football side, which is as you'd expect. So basically the concept of the Peak 2020-11 is not the 11, but during the cricket season we'll have that sort of thing. The Peak 2020-18, basically what it is as with this year, it's been pretty messed up, and so many people have stood out for the wrong reasons. People have basically made 2020 what it is. So we're going to start with the coaching staff and the off-field team, but an honourable mention goes to the president of this team, who's not even involved in footy whatsoever.
I love it.
His name is Peter V'landys. He is a superstar within rugby league, as he says. He's done what other codes have failed to do in terms of a restart, but thank goodness that he's not playing in Victoria, because otherwise there would definitely be no following for rugby league or audience on the TV. So he's the president, and now we're going to go to the senior coach, which of course is Alistair Clarkson. Now, Clarko, in terms of why he's on the list, it goes without saying, but in case you need refreshing, basically this bloke has been incredibly influential in regards to umpiring decisions, being a Hawthorn man and all, #free kick Hawthorn. But
I love it.
But he is on the list because hopefully, if he has his way, he'll probably stop coronavirus in his tracks. I'd be backing him in. I respect the man greatly, so hopefully he and the rest of the team could potentially form as a band of COVID-19 contact tracers. I probably need to stop talking about COVID-19, but anyway. So, Robert, how thankful are you that you don't have to play the Blues boys with it being a COVID year? Next year, I think Dan Williams is referring to.
Well, look, I refer to 2020 as the COVID Cup. So basically,
Corona Cup, mate. We'll call it Corona.
Corona Cup. Or
Corona Cup.
Whatever you want to call it.
Get on
now,
the
Dan,
Coronas.
Dan, my friend. Now, I was speaking about streaks, right? The Blue Boys haven't defeated the Tigers since the 2013 elimination final, where he's finished 9th. Came into the finals and broke my heart. Like you would have seen that video a few weeks back. But look, there's no. The only thing the Blues will be doing is singing the blues, like the Elton John. That's why they call it the Blues. Look, just yet again, they get the Carlton faithful's hopes up and then deliver absolute garbage against the Hawks. They played. I think they kicked the first 5 goals. You lead by that game by 5 goals. And then they must have thought they had the game won at quarter time. And Alistair Clarkson's veterans absolutely dismantled the Carlton faithful. So, look, mate, that's a fairy tale at this stage for the Carlton Footy Club. And you're going to have to get down to pre-season training and try your best, because I can't see the Carlton Blues troubling the terrific Tigers anytime soon.
Might just have to add, this might as well be a Carlton roasting session as well. So in future, if you
Yep.
if
Bring
you
it on,
can
boys.
if
Bring it
you
on.
if you hate Carlton, come and watch this show because we, just like the front bar boys, the front bar man being Mick Malloy, absolutely hate Carlton. Now, obviously, we've gone well into overtime. The siren's gone. The quarter time siren's gone, and the umpires haven't heard. But this whole podcast is just have a bit of fun and to develop this product. And by the way, it's incredibly hard having to do this in isolation. Stage 4 isn't great, but soon enough we'll be back. Well, we'll be in a studio together at a particular place in Mulgrave, and they're also going to become one of our sponsors as well. So we're super excited to welcome them on board. Hopefully, the clue's in the uniform that I'm wearing as I work for them as well. So. Let's talk a bit more about the game, which is approximately 19 minutes and 40 seconds away. Now, the big talking point I have is Charlie Cameron. We talk a lot about him, whether as a crow or a lion. And do you reckon Grimes is living rent free in his head?
Look, John, that's a good point. Charlie Cameron, certainly to this stage of the season, is the best small forward in the competition. He has an ability to, like most Indigenous players do, just have an unbelievable knack of doing things that most others can't do. And when he gets the ball, he doesn't get a lot of the ball. I think he averages around 15 disposals a game, but he makes things happen. The game opens up in front of him. He hasn't got tunnel vision. He's got sort of 180-degree vision, really 360 vision, and his game sense and awareness is huge. Grimes has been wearing him like a glove the last 3 games, I believe. I believe he's only been kept to about 3 or 4 goals in the last 3 times, and he completely blanketed him in that first qualifying final last year up the Gabba, where the Tigers absolutely had a big win that time. I think it was about 47 points in the end. So I think Charlie Cameron's the X factor. If he can fire, if he can get off the chain and get off the noose and really work Grimes over, which is going to be a hard challenge for him. But if he can, then Richmond's going to have some problems. That's when the likes of Cam Rayner will come into the game. Hugh McCluggage, he is absolutely huge for them, especially off the half back line. And he can roll in through the middle. Mitch Robertson, he's a hard in and under midfielder. So I think, really how this game's going to be decided is going to be really how the fortunes of Charlie Cameron. It's going to be huge. And if Grimes can do what he's done the past 2 or 3 times, Richmond will win. By how much, we'll get to that at the end of the show. But if Charlie Cameron can do what he does best and kick goals and set up other players, and another player I want to mention is Eric Hipwood. I reckon he's not living up to the hype. Right, I saw him about 2 or 3 years ago. He kicked 4 goals in a come from behind win against Essendon. When Essendon, I think they led by about 40 odd points, and they came back. And Eric Hipwood, he's got a booming left foot. It just seems sometimes he's a little bit hesitant to go for goal. And I reckon if he just played rather than just play a role and really stepped in and said, I'm the man, I reckon he's got potential to be much more than he's really shown in his first 2 to 4 years of AFL senior footy. So Eric Hipwood is one that I've been a little bit disappointed in, but I think he's another one to watch. On his day, he can certainly fire and cause the Richmond backline some trouble.
Absolutely. I really like what Brisbane's been doing for the past couple of years. Chris Fagan and also Luke Hodge, Grant Birchall, those type of guys have definitely transformed the way they go about things to the point where the coach loves the club so much he goes into the freezer and de-slide and does his hammy. He's dedicated to the cause. But all the best to the Lions tonight. I suppose may the best team win. I forgot to mention this. I should have mentioned this first, but there's been plenty of player movement going on in the AFLW trade and sign period. Richmond's been very active. Kate Sheen and the team there. I can't exactly say who I particularly barrack for in the AFLW. I don't really have a team, despite the fact that Richmond is a team. However, I looked at my phone towards the end of work, and I absolutely jumped for joy when I saw that we signed Sarah Darcy from the Pies. She hails from a great club before that in the Eastern Devils. I cannot wait to see her in yellow and black just as much as I can't wait to see Sarah Hosking. I've met her a couple of times. Almost got a signed footy off her, but I actually couldn't make it due to public transport constraints. But each to their own. Richmond also signed Harriet Cordner from the D's, and also Sarah Dargan from the Pies as well. So 2 Pies for, I'm not entirely sure who, given that in terms of the how explicit the trades are, I'm not entirely sure. I probably need to dig more into that, but I cannot wait for this AFLW season as much as I can't wait for absolutely anything else to go on at the moment, considering that a lot of sports events are falling before our very eyes. However, I'm very confident that we'll be able to see some women's footy. Gee, I tell you what, it's one of the things you do not take for granted, considering I went to a few games before everything went wrong, I guess, put it that way.
Pear-shaped, yeah.
Exactly. And what a privilege it is just what a privilege it is to support footy at a time like this, and to actually be able to watch footy as well. So let's go back to the comments section real quick, and we need to do this more often as well beyond next week. So Peter Lausch, it's good to have your company, mate. An absolute legend.
Footy jumper collector 101. He's the man to see if you want a footy jumper.
Absolutely. He's got 900 of them. Oh, probably 1,000 actually.
1,000.
Exactly.
Over 1,000 now.
More than 1,000 exactly. What an absolute legend. So he says, Lockie Neal, no chance of getting 51 possessions this game, as it's shorter quarters tonight. Yeah, I'll believe that, definitely. And if you're setting up a same game multi, do not put him to have 50 or more possessions. Even though the odds would be really good. Probably won't get it. To get 51 possessions,
Gamble
responsibly.
Gamble irresponsible.
No, Robbie, we don't say that. Come on, secure the Sharks. Oh, come on. I kind of like the Sharkies too. We all know that. All right. So, and Lauschie has also chimed in as well. He's told us how many jumpers he's got. 1,118. Gee, that's impressive. Well done, Lauschie. Dan Williams again. What are your thoughts on Tom Lynch? Heard he's having sleepless nights from matching up on Wiedering. Sorry.
Matching up on who?
Wiedering. Jacob Wiedering.
Oh, right.
Heard after round one, Wiedering went home, gave his mum a hug, went to the kitchen counter, emptied his pockets of his car keys, chewing gum, and Tom Lynch even ran Lynch a bath after toweling up all evening. Gee, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? Oh dear.
Look, we never get ahead of ourselves at Tigerland, Dan Williams. But I'll tell you what, right now, Lynch, he's just sort of, just paddling the boat just in the direction that we need to go. But when he needs to fire, and when we need to put the turbos to the back of the boat, we're going to go bang, and we are on. And just remember this, Tommy Lynch, he was a gun at the Gold Coast. He doesn't have to be a gun at Richmond, because we're just, on every starting line, we're just that good. So
he just has to be a Richmond player.
He only needs us to kick his, 1 or 2 a game, and we'll just let the boys, the other lads, do the rest of the hard work.
Exactly. Oh, we're almost there. We are, 11 minutes and 16 seconds away. So the players would probably be out there by now. But,
Jono.
Yep.
I want to, with 10 minutes to go, I want to say this, right? Now, Richmond, so the ins and outs, right? We should really get into the game as we come down to the last 10 minutes of this podcast. Now, Richmond brought in Nick Laston. Out goes Oleg Markov. Now, I just want to say this. Markov's been on the list since 2016. He played 8 games in his first year. He's only played 7 games since that period. So, obviously, been through a period of domination. Now, I think Ollie Markov is extremely unlikely to be dropped. I thought Sydney Stack should be dropped. It seems Sydney Stack is more interested in posting TikTok videos than he is in playing footy.
You are 100% right there, Robbie.
Right, Ollie Markov is...
Make no mistake about that.
He plays his role in the half-back line, and I think he's extremely unlucky to get dropped. And I think Damien Harwick and the coaching staff should really give him a sort of 2 to 4 week block to see what he can do, because on his day, he's quite a solid defender and he can do some good things. So obviously Weston has come in, Mr. Reliable, and also for the Brisbane Lions, Jack Payne out goes Grant Birchall. I've been watching Birchall play. Even though he's played the 8 games so far this year, he's been serviceable, but has he been great? Not really. They're saying that he's getting managed, but I think that's more a term of basically you're a little bit too slow for the current way the Brisbane Lions are playing. So here comes Jack Payne to fill that defensive role. And, I think, like a Jack Revold or Tommy Lynch, you speak of 2 gun forwards. If they can get hold of that young defender, because he's going to be, overwhelmed. He's played less than 20 games in AFL footy. I think, if they can get the ball in hard, fast, and quickly, I think Jack Payne's going to be under a lot of pressure tonight against those 2 key Richmond forwards. What are your thoughts on that, Jono?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree. I'm just trying to look at the teams at the moment. So I'm pretty sure the final changes, there have been no changes. So Tiiger Floston is in on his 150th game. Congratulations, Tig. A future captain, hopefully. Would you agree on that, Rob?
Certainly like his style, yes. I think once Cochin retires in the next couple of years, he would be one to step up and take that. He's about 25, 26, so he's had a great career, and he would definitely be one to lead the Tigers into the future. Yeah,
also, I know a man who's gearing up to hopefully be the captain of the Richmond Football Club, that being Jack Ross. I've known for a very long time. He's only young, but believe me, he can definitely make his mark at Tigerland. How good is it to actually have him? I was pretty excited when he got drafted, as I was when Jack Higgins got drafted as well in the 2017 draft. That was probably one of the best days, I reckon, in a fair while, given that we just won the flag, and be interesting to see who we picked up. So, just some facts here, thanks to afl.com.au. In the past 4 rounds, Brisbane has generated 20 points per game from forward 50 chains, ranked number 1 in the competition. So, again, it's up to the defence of the Tigers, being Bolter and Grimes, of course, to stem the flow, and obviously Liam Baker as well. And in the past 4 rounds, conversely, Richmond has scored from 27% of its clearance chains, ranked number 1 in the competition. You know that feeling, Rob, when you know that Richmond's on? They get the ball at half back and they just stream forward, and you know they're absolutely on. And unfortunately, in a season like this, it's more or less, given the level of fatigue that's going on with the players at the moment, sometimes you'll have those sort of experiences go off. Those sort of experiences and I guess occurrences go on. What do you think about that?
Look, I think AFL 2020, I've seen more ebbs and flows. So I've never seen so many, it's unbelievable what I'm seeing at the minute. It's just literally one side is on for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then they drop off, and then the side comes. And I don't think I've seen so many swings and turns in a season that I've seen so far. And I think that's got a lot to do with, it's almost like being in match simulation at training. It's just about how mentally prepared you are, and then how hard you want to press, and whether your teammates are ready to come along for the ride. And I just think the game's been played in ebbs and flows. And I think even if you are up by 6 or 7 goals at half time, it's getting shown that if you're not switched on for all 4 quarters, and with the 6-6 rule, 6-6-6 rule, you can score quickly, and you can, get those deficits back right down very quickly through fast play. As you mentioned, that the Tigers, when they're on, they're on. And I think, as I said earlier in the show, Dustin Martin exemplifies the way Richmond play. If Dusty's on, it's almost like, the lieutenant says, "All right, boys," or in Braveheart when he says, "We're on, boys," we'll fight to the death. Basically, when Dusty's on, and I know that's using an extreme analogy, but basically when Dusty's on, the rest of the pack follow. He's the leader of the band, and you're right. Once Richmond's on, they're on, and I think that many sides that play us, and we're going to find out a lot tonight, and then next week against Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval. We'll find out who really is the top dog in season 2020.
Absolutely. Thanks again, Dan, for your input. Sarah Hosking, a great get for your girls. Offers grunt to complement Conti's class. Gee, I hope she absolutely fires. Obviously, being a significant other of Sydney Stack, hopefully she can emulate Stack's class on the field in future years. I'm pretty excited to have her there as well. Just hopefully she doesn't go and play basketball and stays a footballer. John Nelson again. Robbie, you would be a good salesman for a dynamic lifter. What's that?
Dynamic lifter? I'm not sure. Johnny Nelson, you'd have to explain. He's probably talking about something that happened in the 1970s because he's losing the plot, Johnny Nelson, but that's all right.
All right, Robbie, if you get yourself up the fixture, obviously we had the Port and the Doggies last night on day whatever it is of the footy frenzy. It's been absolutely nuts. So the Port Adelaide Power got over the Dogs by 13 points tonight. Obviously, Richmond versus Brisbane. Can I get your tip?
Well, look, as most people who follow my socials, whether it's Winnow88 with its Winston Sports Media, look, I never get ahead of myself at Tigerland. And look, as I just mentioned, with all the previous information earlier in the show, look, anything less than a 63-point win would be pretty disappointing tonight. So Richmond by 63 points.
Massive call. Gee, you're overstating that, aren't you?
A little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but, look, as I said, we never get ahead of ourselves at Tigerland.
No, except for you. Anyway, so tomorrow night, Wednesday, Geelong and North. Who have you got?
Geelong. They're the Father Tom's side of the competition, but North Melbourne are no good in 2020. So
absolutely not.
Definitely the Cats.
Absolutely not. Feelings go out to Ben. Condolences go out to Ben Brown as well, given all that he's gone through. But hopefully the pressure doesn't affect him too much because some people, they do like to see him fire. But other people have their opinions about him. But all that aside, wish him definitely all the best at Adelaide Oval tomorrow night. Also is the Crows up against Melbourne. I think Melbourne will get up, but, well, given the fact it is Adelaide, gee, they've had a really poor season, and if not for COVID, they probably would have a win under their belt, but as it stands, they haven't won for over a year, and that's pretty tragic, isn't it?
Well, look, I'll tell you what, if you're a Melbourne supporter, every heart beats true for the red and blue. They have shown absolutely no heart in season 2020. The way they played against Port Adelaide was terrible, right? And if I was a Demon supporter, they've gone through the ringer, right? And if I was a Demon supporter, I'd be scratching my head and wondering what direction are we going in as a D supporter. So Demons on talent should win, but the fact that it's played at the Adelaide Oval, who knows? The Adelaide boys might be keen. So, look, the Demons better win. I'm tipping the Demons by 3 goals, but with no confidence.
All right, quick fire, because we've got 1 minute and 22 seconds before the bounce of the ball at Metricon. Okay. Collingwood and Sydney.
Collingwood.
Gold Coast, St Kilda.
Saints.
And Essendon and the Giants.
Giants.
Alrighty, and of course, the Eagles, the Blues, and the Dockers and the Hawks have the bye. Well, this has been Tiger Talk with Jono and Rob for WSM and JVFT Media. Give us a like on our Facebook pages. You can find me at jv.ftmedia, and of course you're watching this on Winston Sports Media. It's been a pleasure, Rob. Thanks very much for your company.
Thank you so much, Jono. We've done a really ripping job tonight, and we can only get better from here on in.
Absolutely. Your final thoughts, real quick.
Final thoughts, Richmond by 63.
All right, it's going to be very fun. Well, the players are all in readiness at Metricon Stadium. I've been Jono Venn. He's been Robert Winston. It's been an absolute pleasure. See you again next week.
Up those Tigers.